5 months after Jack and Lily Sullivan vanished, their stepfather Daniel Martel says he continues to search for answers and cooperate with police. That included when cadaver dogs recently came to his property.
I come home and the dogs were already, on scene, and they were there for about an hour before I got there. I didn't know the exact day when the arrival was going to happen. But at the end of the day, everything's ruled out there, and I hope this speculation, turns elsewhere.
Sorry to disappoint, but my speculation hasn't changed. And it's not just because Daniel's top priority seems to be deflecting speculation instead of finding his missing kids. So today, let's watch this interview and count all the red flags. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation. So if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For early access, exclusive videos, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description. If you're watching this, you're probably already familiar with the disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan from Nova Scotia, Canada. So instead of recapping the entire case, here's a quick clip from my video, He Knows Everything, recapping the statements Daniel was making leading up to the cadaver dog search.
Is there any piece of you that's preparing for the fact, what if they do find something?
No, because I didn't do anything. I know Malaya didn't do anything. I know my mother didn't do anything. Those are 3 people on the property.
For someone who was apparently drifting in and out of sleep when Lily and Jack disappeared, Daniel sure does know quite a bit about what happened to them. For instance, he knows where they aren't, he knows their dead bodies aren't on the property, and he somehow also knows who isn't responsible. The implication, of course, is he knows where they are. That's how he knows they won't be found on the property. And this isn't a reach. After all, if he actually didn't know what happened, I'd expect him to be curious about what the dogs might find and apprehensive about it. But he's not. I'd also expect him to be suspicious about all the other adults who are on the property, but he isn't. He's conclusive about their innocence when, if his story's true, he has no way of knowing that. By the way, as a side note, Daniel, criminals move bodies all the time. The cadaver dogs not finding anything on the property doesn't prove you're innocent. It actually suggests the opposite. As I said in that video, if the dogs don't find any bodies on the property, it actually is bad for Daniel, not only because he said for sure they wouldn't find anything, which makes me wonder how he knew that, but also because their story is that the kids wandered off and got lost. How far could they have possibly gone before perishing in the rough Nova Scotian weather? Most likely in the area the dogs were searching, which calls their entire story into question. But this new interview is even worse than that old one, so without further ado, let's listen.
2 dogs trained to detect human remains were brought in from British Columbia the week of September 22nd. They spent about 3 days searching a total of 40 kilometers for evidence of the 2 missing children.
They didn't locate any human remains or anything associated to this file or any open files. So there was no
Staff Sergeant Rob McCammon is the officer in charge of major crime and behavioral sciences in Nova Scotia. He says the dogs scoured the Lansdowne property where the siblings lived. They also sniffed the woods where a pink blanket was previously found and a nearby pipeline and intersecting trails. He wouldn't confirm whether people were questioned during the latest search, but Martel tells CBC one of the RCMP dog handlers had tough questions for him about the day before the children disappeared.
He said your Thursday and all the way leading into Friday morning, there's not enough detail. And I said to him that Thursday was just an ordinary day until I woke up on Friday morning. And that's when life changed. There was nothing like life changing on Thursday. It was a normal day. So therefore, there was nothing detailed that needed to be remembered that day until Friday morning.
So he was mentioning something along the lines of something happened Thursday night,
Yeah.
and your story isn't matching up?
Yeah, well, not just matching, it didn't have enough detail for him, personally. And then that's when I asked him, do you know anything on the case? And he said, not really. I've seen you on the news once. And that kind of alarmed me, or, shocking, because you're having somebody that's trying to get you to admit to something and they don't know any details. So therefore, my Thursday didn't have any details. Your knowledge of the case didn't have any details. So you shouldn't try to force something on me without knowing any of the background.
I've got a lot of problems here, so let's go through them one by one. First, I don't like how Daniel got defensive when pressed for more details. I would have expected him to be kicking himself for not remembering every little thing, especially if he truly believed the kids were kidnapped. Did he see a stranger in town? Was someone following them? Did he see a weird car on the road? Every detail would matter. Victims searching their memories for buried clues is such a common phenomenon that it's actually carded in the deception deck. My second problem is this: even if we took Daniel at his word, that he just wipes his memory clean of every ordinary moment, we can't trust his his account of Friday morning. After all, by his logic, he shouldn't remember anything about that morning because it was a normal morning up until they noticed that the kids were missing. Which brings me to my biggest issue with this entire segment of the interview. Thursday wasn't an ordinary day. Lily was apparently sick, so they kept her home from school, which breaks the normal routine. In other words, it all boils down to this. No matter which way you cut it, Daniel's either lying about not remembering Thursday, or he's such an unreliable witness that he can't alibi anybody for Friday morning. Let's keep listening because it gets even worse.
Did he make any accusations at you?
Yeah, he did. He said that Thursday didn't have enough details, and we think you did something to the kids Thursday night. And I asked him, like, what are you talking about? Like, I just ran through whole Thursday and Wednesday with you. Like, we just spent the last 20 minutes talking, and there's not enough detail because I thought it was an ordinary day.
Bartel says the cadaver dog searched inside his trailer and police even looked under his deck. McCammon says his team is prepared to keep working on this case until it's solved.
This is not something that we stop working on. We've got 2 young children, Lily and Jack, who've gone missing from their home. And it is a Missing Persons Act investigation still at this time. But we need to find answers to that. There's a lot of legitimate public concerns about how 2 children go missing and we can't find them. So we're going to continue until we have answers.
He says bringing dogs back to these woods again could be a possibility if new information suggests they missed something.
It should have been case closed from the very start, because with the amount of resources and technology and amount of searchers and everyone deployed in that first initial search, that was a lot. That was an 8-kilometer radius outwards. And it's just the amount of money and people's time, injuries that were sustained during that. It's just, people should have just opened their eyes to see that we need to look elsewhere. I pointed many fingers, and I think that's where the people should look.
Not here.
Not here. Not in the woods. If fingers have been pointed, let's start taking a look. It's just heartbreaking to know that 5 months have passed and school started, the summer ended. Like, this should be a chance for kids to be interacting and doing kid things, enjoying their lives as kids. You know, like, it's not just all the kids that miss them from school and community, and, you know, at this point, the whole country that, you know they're missing. It's just like, I have kids too that know that they're missing too. And, like, that's heartbreaking for them. Like, Meadow doesn't understand, but one day she will. And she knows that Dad spoke up for Jack and Lily.
When Daniel went on that tangent about kids going back to school, I thought he was talking about Lily and Jack. But no, his sympathy was for the other students in their class who would feel sad that they were missing. And that's not the only time he put others over his own children in this clip. And by the way, I hope you noticed that he didn't refer to his other biological daughters as his other daughters. He just called them his daughters. So what does he consider Lily? Anyway, when he was talking about the search, he was lamenting all the money and man hours being wasted and all the injuries the searchers were getting. Actual parents of missing children couldn't care less about the people searching for their kids as long as they're doing it. They bankrupt the entire police department if it meant getting their kids back. I explained why Daniel talks this way in my video He's Afraid, which I'll link on the end card. If you want more like this, let me know by liking, commenting, and sharing. Until next time, stay true.